Hey, fellow vid editors and VFXers, what's happening? This is Eric Tozzi, and this is my first tutorial, and really it's more of a tip than a tutorial, but I am going to get into some tutorials. A little bit about me. I've been a video editor professionally for over 20 years. Currently, I'm working at an agency doing television commercials, and over the years, I've done a lot of documentary work. I've done a lot of some scripted science fiction, some reality TV, and had a chance to direct a couple of short films and do some cool stuff. I've been involved in 2 film adaptations, Stephen King's short story Paranoid and Ray Bradbury's Kaleidoscope. So anyway, today I wanted to give you a tip because there's nothing more frustrating than having to try to problem solve something while you're on the job, and then you spend all this time and you can't figure it out, and it's very frustrating, and the deadline's looming, and you just realize, man, I don't have time for all this, and it can be quite aggravating. So I thought what I would address today are the keyframe handles and the ability to be able to smooth and have control over your keyframes. And this is particularly useful when you're using a camera in After Effects and you just want to have more control over the speed and agility and the easing of a camera. Now it's pretty straightforward if you just add, let's say, a couple keyframes, and then you grab them, you right click, and you add Easy Ease, and I'll show you how to do that. But this takes it a step further, and it's weird because a couple of versions ago in After Effects, Adobe had automatically you get handles in your graph editor. You would open that, you'd see the keyframes, and you'd have the handles, and those went away. And I was working on something, and I was quite frustrated, and I thought, man, why did I update the software? I should have just stuck with version 1. But anyway, so here we go. So let's go ahead and let's set up a really simple 3D scene. The final frontier. Okay. The final frontier. All right. So there we've got some text. Let's go ahead and make that 3D, and then I've got a background here that's 3D already. And let's go ahead and open our position on the text, and let's just pull it to the foreground just a little bit more, and let's just go ahead and line this up. Now, I want to mention, here's another quick little tip for you. Sometimes you'll get fonts and the kerning might not be exactly right. And so if you've ever wondered, how to fix stuff like this, and you think, oh man, there's no way, this font is just a little wonky, there's no way to fix it, that's not true. You can actually fix your kerning if you need to, and here's how you do it. You go between the letters that you need to fix, and if you're on the Mac and you click Alt and then use your back arrow, you can, or your front arrow, you can expand it or close it, just that one little part. So for instance, if I want to bring the N closer to the O, I can hit Alt, back, and use the backspace, and look at that. It tightens it up. And you can really, really customize. You have a lot of control over your fonts. So sometimes you'll get fonts that are very wonky, and the kerning between certain letters is really odd. And this is a great way to fix that. Alt and use your cursor or your back and forward arrow, and you can tighten those things up, and you can neaten it up a bit and make it look a bit more uniform. See, look at that. It's beautiful. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's get back to the 3D issue, and let's go layer, and let's create a new camera. Now let's do it 35 mil is fine. And then the other thing is, I'm a big fan, when it comes to cameras, I'm a big fan of using a null object to move the camera. So what I mean by that is I kind of take the null and I kind of treat it like it's a dolly, although I don't know, nowadays, do people even use dollies anymore? It's kind of like, I've seen rails and sliders, and I've seen, the Ronin, and all these different rigs and stuff for moving cameras, and the old big dollies are sort of antiquated now at this point, I suppose. But anyway, be that as it may, let's use this null, and let's go ahead and label this green so I can, or actually let's do yellow so I can really see where it is. Okay. So let's take our camera and let's go ahead and parent it. And we do that by grabbing the pick whip, to the null object. Okay, so here's what we want to do. We want to take our position from here, and we want to fly through these letters. This is a big opening of a $100 million science fiction film. As you can see, these titles are extremely high budget, and the client was very adamant that we use this font and this typeface, and we're going to fly through it, and then we're in outer space, and we're in our movie. Okay, so here we go, as you can see, and wow, that's hardcore. That is hardcore. Okay, so we like that, but let's say we don't want it. The client's like walks in the room and says, "Hey, is there any way you could, like slow down before you pass through the letters? Because I just want it to slow down." And you could say, "Sure, we could do that." So then what you do is you would normally take this and you say, "Okay, well that's easy. The client wants that. I'll just ease it, and I'll go into my graph editor here, and I'll just grab this and oh no, where's the handle? Where's the handle? I don't have control of my and then you start to panic. And the client's like, "Well, what's wrong? I thought you said you were good. What, you can't slow it down? I'm paying $120 an hour for this?" And you're like, "Yes, sir." Okay, so yeah, that's no good. It used to be a couple versions ago, and I'm on Adobe 2017. A couple versions ago, you could click on this here, and you would have a handle, a Bezier handle, and you could smooth out the timing. And as you can see, they're nowhere to be found. So you can click around and drive yourself nuts and try to figure out, is it this, is it that, is it this, it's not that, it's none of that. Okay, so what's going on? Well, here's the trick. You go to your position, or whatever it is you're using, scale position, you right-click, and you pick this separate dimensions. Boom. Okay, so now what happens if you go here and click, guess what? There are your handles. There's the handle. That's what you were looking for, right? And so now when the client's like, "I thought you said you were good. I thought you said you were good at this editing stuff." And you're like, "Oh yeah, well, look at that, man. Nice and slow," and then it speeds. "Oh, you want it to slow down? Okay. All right, we'll just slow it down then. How's that? What if we just make it a little bit more like this, and then it slows down here? And we just kind of curve it so it comes up and it slows down, and then we go through." The client's like, "You saved the day. I'm giving you a raise." So there you go. Okay, so that's how that works. So, and this is a really, really vital part of what we do when it comes to animating things, is having control over the speed, having control over the velocity and the curve. This is the way you smooth everything. This is the way. This is what sets you apart from other designers who might be starting out and they're just using a keyframe here, a keyframe there, and it's just hard. It's just bumpy. And you get that sense with the camera that there's no smoothness. It's just bumping. It's hard. Everything's kind of hitting. The camera's hitting its marks very hard, and you're not getting that smoothness. And this really, really helps to finesse the timing, the speed, and makes for a much better looking end product. And as you can see with this very expensive title, let's go ahead and throw some motion blur on that to make it a bit more interesting. Let's go there, boom. And now we should have it a bit more, a little more Star Wars-y, right? There you go. Oh, look at that motion blur. See, there you go. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty sweet, actually. I think the client would be very happy with that. Like, yeah, we're going to beat George Lucas on this one. Yep, add some sound design and you are good to go. Okay, well, that's all the time I have today. I hope that was helpful. Again, it's always difficult when you're trying to get a project done on a deadline and you have issues trying to figure out in the software how to do something like that. So anyway, once again, separate dimensions and you'll have your handles back and you can get your work done. All right, that's all the time I have today. Have a great week. And I've got an upcoming tutorial. I'm going to be talking about using Video Copilot's awesome Saber plugin as a powerful backlighting tool, which can add some really cool atmosphere and depth and drama to your work. And I'll be talking about that soon. Take it easy, guys.